been in the seat tonight? Cal? Gajraj?
Thanks.
Never been in the seat?
First time.
I want to keep it totally secret so nobody knows that you've never done Q News Tonight, so they don't look at you very, very specifically.
Yeah. It's like a virgin.
Yeah. Oh, please.
That's for the
Stop.
very first time.
Please. And John Buckley is back with us.
Yeah.
We're excited. You like the traffic here in South Florida, do you?
I don't.
Yeah.
They had to put me through it.
Yeah, I know it's tough. This is going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk about some Hungarian Prime Minister. Well, welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only LGBTQ daily evening news. And it's time to queer up the news. We wish you good evening. It is 7 p.m. Thursday, December 3rd, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight. The world's first live daily queer evening news show. Out of the closet and into the headlines on Q News Tonight. Well, thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is live, unedited LGBTQ evening news show. Whatever happens, you're going to see, and I hope lots of stuff happens. This evening, we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ community from South Florida, America, and across our world. I'm your Queer News Tonight anchor, Al Ferguson, and tonight let's welcome anchor John Buckley. He is a client advisor at Ramoa, vice president and program director of the nonprofit organization Unity Coalition, as well as the creator of Kyoba, a traveling social event offered free with inspiring speakers, topics, and safe space for all same-gender loving men of color. Plus, and this is probably the most interesting thing about him, he is known as Buck Lords at the infamous House of Lords. Welcome, John Buckley.
Thank you, Al.
And next, let's welcome anchor Cal Gajraj. And he is a business strategist and international consultant in marketing and public relations, and says he is, wait, what? Broward County's most eligible bachelor?
And Miami-Dade.
And, oh, in Miami-Dade. Oh, okay. So you're using Queer News Tonight to date? Is that what I'm to understand? All right. Well, we'll probably, John and I will be talking more about that probably through the show.
Platform.
Yeah, exactly. Use the platform. Funny. Tonight we begin with queer headlines. The LGBTQ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Thursday, December 3rd. Let's begin by queering up the USA. Elliot Page is receiving transphobic hate from lesbians on Twitter. On Tuesday, Juno and Umbrella Academy star Elliot Page came out as transgender and non-binary. Page, whose pronouns are he, they, made the announcement in a heartfelt message posted to Twitter and Instagram. Page's announcement was met with an outpouring of support from his followers, friends, and fans. A slew of transphobic messages quickly followed Page's announcement. This is far from unexpected. In fact, Page anticipated it in his statement, but the origin of much of the hate has caught people off guard, as it's largely coming from within the LGBTQ community. Some lesbians have been handling the news of Page's coming out very poorly. Rather than applauding Page for his courage and celebrating the visibility his announcement can bring to the trans community, they're publicly mourning the announcement as a loss to their community. Jesting about the loss of a celebrity when they make an announcement about their sexuality is nothing new. But many tweets about Page have been laced with transphobia. Quote, "I feel like our community is diminishing every day. I'm too sad to say anything," one user on Twitter said. Their statement, like so many others, treats Page's announcement as a loss, and it seems to exclude trans people from the LGBTQ community. Another distraught lesbian, Twitter user Claire Shrugged, lamented that, quote, Many young lesbians now feel that because they do not perform or feel invested in conventional femininity, they can no longer be women. And so they shift from identifying as a lesbian woman to straight men. Compulsory heterosexuality all over again, end quote. These are just a sample of gigantic numbers of negative comments. Nearly anyone who's ever come out has likely met at least one person who treated their sexuality as a choice. Everyone at Queer News Tonight, however, celebrates our LGBTQ community and all of our diverse labels among us. It is clear we cannot expect broad American society to completely accept us if acceptance does not start within our community.
I couldn't agree more, Al. I could never for anything understand why we have such a divide within our own community. We're all together, we're all one. At the end of the day, I think it's important that no matter what, we support each other, work united, and continue to fight for our rights together, because at the end of the day, if we stand divided, we're never going to be able to conquer.
Cal, any thoughts about what's going on in Twitter?
I agree. I think that as a community, we should applaud his efforts for living his true life, and that we should come together as a community not only on Pride days, but 365 days a year. We should, be side by side with our brothers and sisters.
You know, I have frequently said, and I will say again on this overnight news of what's happening in Twitter, the LGBTQ community cannot be a community if it is not as valuable for the L as it is for the T or the G or the B or the Q. Right. We have 5 letters and more, and we have to respect all of them.
Agreed. And next, we queer up business. Trump supporters' business hits with hundreds of negative reviews after homophobic rant goes viral. A Donald Trump supporter's business has been flooded with negative reviews after a video of her aggressively homophobic rant went viral. The woman who TMZ reports is called Gina Michelle Bigsano can be seen in the clip attending a small anti-lockdown protest outside of LA County Department of Public Health Director Barbara Ferrer's house. The protest saw COVID-19 conspiracy theorists criticize Ferrer for putting new restrictions in place to control the spread of the virus, and Bigsano was filmed at the protest loudly throwing homophobic slurs at the person filming her. Quote, "You're a faggot. I said it. I don't give a shit," she said in the video, wearing a suitably ugly Trump-supporting t-shirt. Quote, "You're disgusting. You're a new world order sanitist." Clutching a very small dog in her arm, she continues to make homophobic comments directed at the person behind the camera. Quote, "You're a fag. What are you, a guy or a girl?" She continues, "I'm gonna tell you something else. You're a Nazi and a brainwashed by the MK Ultra. I bet you had an abortion this morning," end quote. Unsurprisingly, the internet was quick to find out who she was so that she could face her consequences for the deranged comments. Bigsano is the owner of the Beverly Hills salon Gina's Eyelashes and Skincare, and ever since the clip spread online, it has been hit with countless negative Yelp reviews.
And next, we're going to queer up entertainment. Viggo Mortensen responds to criticism over gay role. Quote, "You're assuming I'm completely straight." The story is growing controversy on the subject if gay roles in television and film should be played by straight actors. As example, Viggo Mortensen has responded to criticism over his decision to cast himself as a gay man in his upcoming film Falling. The Lord of the Rings and Green Book star is making his debut as writer and director with the film about a married gay man who takes care of his conservative and homophobic father after he starts to exhibit symptoms of dementia. But Mortensen's decision to cast himself as a gay man has led to criticism given ongoing backlash in Hollywood over straight cisgender actors taking LGBTQ roles. Speaking with the Times, Mortensen clapped back at such criticism, noting that while it's, quote, healthy to discuss LGBTQ representation, his decision to play a gay man wasn't, quote, a gimmick. He said, look, these are the times we're living in, and I think it's healthy to those issues that are brought up. The short answer is, I didn't think it was a problem. And people then ask me, quote, well, what about Terry Chen, who plays my husband in the film? Is he a homosexual? And the answer is, I don't know. And I would never have the temerity that I'm completely straight. Maybe I'm not, and it's frankly none of your business, end quote.
Next week, Queer Up Entertainment. Taylor Swift makes a heartfelt promise to always fight for the LGBTQ rights so everyone can live out their love story. Watch this.
I just believe very firmly that everyone should be able to live out their love story without fear of discrimination. I'm really, really grateful for this. This is so amazing. I want to say thank you to anyone who had a hand in deciding that I should deserve this. And mostly I want to say thank you to the fans for giving me a platform to make music and to be vocal about the things that I think are right and wrong. I just believe very firmly that everyone should be able to live out their love story without fear of discrimination. And the way for that to happen is for us to continue to keep pushing governments to put protections in place for members of the LGBTQ community. And I promise to always advocate for that. And I'm just so grateful for this amazing award. Thank you.
Taylor Swift has pledged to always advocate for the LGBTQ community as she was honored at the Attitude Awards. The You Need to Calm Down singer thanked her fans as she received the Icon Award at the virtual ceremony this week. The star maintained an apolitical stance for years, but has since become a vocal supporter of LGBTQ equality and was credited with helping to drive up voter registration among young people in the U.S. after speaking out against Donald Trump and anti-LGBTQ Republicans. Swift shocked many when she said, quote, I think it is so frilly and spineless of me to stand on stage and be like, Happy Pride Month, you guys, and then not say this when someone is literally coming for their neck.
I can't blame her for not being a hypocrite. Taylor Swift has always taken a stance for our community, and I commend her for that. I think it's awesome, and keep doing what you're doing. We love you for that.
And I agree. I think that coming from a marketing and public relations standpoint, we see brands that only change their logos when it's Pride Month. And Taylor Swift is actually, being an advocate year round. So I applaud her efforts.
There's the old adage, put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly.
Right. It's called Taylor Swift.
And now we queer up gay culture. 15 vibrant Magnus Hastings photos showing the LGBTQ Rainbow Revolution. Queer News Tonight is committed to bring you the latest of LGBTQ photographers, illustrators, authors, calendar makers, and other cultural representation of the queer community. With his first book, Why Drag, photographer Magnus Hastings becomes the drag photographer. He shot an almost comprehensive who's who portfolio of the US drag scene. Now he's back with his latest product, Rainbow Revolution. Full of over 300 photographs, the book compromises 2 years of the LA-based photographer's work. His scope widens, including the drag performers as well as the nightlife personalities and other staples from the LGBTQ community, as well as those close allies. Hastings tells Queer News Tonight, quote, attitudes to gender and sexual identity are changing rapidly, but the world is still a dangerous place for minority. Governments increasingly right-wing and our hard-won freedoms are being eroded. It's crucial that we are seen and heard, end quote. This book would be a perfect Christmas present, and we encourage you to look at Magnus Hastings' works.
Well, it's a great book. I've looked at many of the pictures. I love the pictures that we're showing right now. And he did become a who's who in drag photography. If you are interested in RuPaul Queens and RuPaul's Drag Race, Magnus Hastings is a must-see.
Yeah, the photos look absolutely amazing and makes a perfect stocking stuffer.
Yeah. He's giving the gays what they want.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it.
A stocking stuffer. I got it.
Some people need to be stuffed for the holidays.
All right, and Cal, let's move into some world news.
So tonight we're going to queer up the world. Hungarian MEP and top Viktor Orbán ally resigns after being arrested at a raucous gay sex party. Joseph Zager, a top official and one of the founders of Hungary's Viktor Orbán's anti-LGBTQ plus Fidesz party, resigned over the weekend as he was arrested for breaching coronavirus restrictions at a gay sex party. According to the BBC, the party was held at an apartment in Brussels on Friday and included 20 to 25 people, mostly men. Police raided the gathering as they suspected it was breaching coronavirus restrictions and found multiple participants naked as they burst in. Sarah Durant, a spokesperson for the Brussels region's deputy public prosecutor, told The Guardian that the Hungarian MEP climbed out of a window and was spotted, quote, fleeing along the gutter. To avoid the police, drugs were also involved. In 2012, Viktor Orbán's Fidesz party brought in a new Hungarian constitution, which defined marriage as between a man and a woman and did not explicitly protect LGBT plus people from discrimination. According to press reports, in 2010, Joseph Zager was ironically put in charge of drafting the new constitution, including defining, quote, the institution of marriage as between a man and a woman, unquote, as, quote, the basis of the family and national survival, unquote. Two other anti-LGBTQ Hungarian politicians may have attended the gay sex party alongside Joseph Zager, according to police reports. We often comment at Queer News Tonight, you just can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, Cal, I'm curious, as I was listening to this fascinating story, are we talking about Jerry Falwell? I'm a little confused about who we're talking about. You know, the interesting thing here to unpack is Hungary and Poland are the two most anti-LGBT Eastern European countries in Europe. I just think the hypocrisy is amazing that the person that writes the new anti-LGBTQ constitution and says the survival of the family is at stake turns up at not only I'm having a relationship with a gay man, but I'm having a relationship with 20 to 25 gay men, and I'm going to have to crawl out the window to try to prove that I wasn't there. Irony.
He's definitely into a lot of scenes.
It almost goes to show you, I mean, it's do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, are we talking about Jerry Falwell from the church pulpit? That's what we're talking about, right?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Pretty sure.
All right.
Yeah.
That's our queer headlines for today. So let's introduce Queer News Tonight's sponsorship of the Outshine LGBTQ Film Festival, Fort Lauderdale Virtual Edition, December 3rd to 6th. Watch this. Happening Television Network is proud to serve again as the digital television sponsor, this time for the Outshine LGBTQ Film Festival Fort Lauderdale Virtual Edition, starting today, presented by Gilead Sciences and Broward County. The festival is going to showcase 21 world-class contemplative, comedic, and creative films from 11 countries, with several making their U.S. debuts during the streaming festival. All of the online films will be made available to viewers throughout the state of Florida from December 3rd through the 6th. And tomorrow night at 7 p.m. in person will be Outshine's Drive Out at Pier 66 Marina in Fort Lauderdale, featuring the Western trans drama 2020 film Cowboys. Well, next let's catch up on the LGBTQ news surrounding COVID-19 with our special segment called Quarantine Quickies. Tonight we report the devastating effect coronavirus has had on the American and worldwide LGBTQ community in total cases and deaths. we're approaching nearly 20,000 LGBTQ deaths in America. So let's review in Queering Up Quarantine Quickies. LGBTQ America warned, quote, "We have reached a dangerous place." Watch this.
So we are at a very critical time right now about being able to maintain the resilience of our healthcare system. Right now, we unfortunately have a pandemic that's really throughout the nation, and there really isn't that resilience of healthcare capacity to be able to be shifted. This is why it's so important at this time, is to really embrace the mitigation steps that we've tried to stress. The time for debating whether or not masks work or not is over. We clearly have scientific evidence. Right now, it is so important that we recommit ourselves to this mitigation as we now begin to turn the corner with the vaccine. But the reality is December and January and February are going to be rough times. I actually believe they're going to be the most difficult time in the public health history of this nation, largely because of the stress that it's going to put on our healthcare system.
Well, the United States on Wednesday had the worst single day in pandemic in 2020. I pause there. It becomes a gigantic warning to the LGBTQ community. The U.S. surpassed 100,000 coronavirus hospitalizations, according to the COVID Tracking Project. Hospitalizations have more than tripled nationwide since October 1st, leaving healthcare systems stretched thin as facilities begin to run out of room for new patients. Yesterday brought more than 205,000 new cases and record deaths, now exceeding more than 1 American death a minute. The LGBTQ community in America has now lost more than 20,000 Americans, and worldwide more than 1 million. The CDC director, Redfield, said yesterday, quote, "This is the most difficult health time in the history of this nation. We are expecting 450,000 Americans lost by February." Queer News Tonight has reported hundreds of stories every night on COVID-19 since January 6, 2020. Our strongest news continues to be wear a condom and wear a mask. That is our COVID-19 news for tonight. Next, we report that Happening Out Television Network helps support our LGBTQ community. An example is Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. We are broadcasting from our permanent set in supporting that partnership. The network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ religious broadcast in the world, with more than 30,000 watching every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and it is totally live. We encourage you to tune in. Our campaign of sponsorship proudly supports Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
This is Mo Laredo, local law enforcement in South Florida, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
We'd also like to thank our set designer, Concepto Modern Living, here in Fort Lauderdale, for making this set in this amazing queer church campus possible.
Finally, we thank Queer News Tonight's hotel sponsor, Best Western I-95 Fort Lauderdale. This is the closest and best choice to the famous Wilton Drive, and our hosts and guests stay at this LGBTQ ally partner. We encourage you to stay here when visiting South Florida.
We end tonight's broadcast with the Big Finish, today's silly or news that entertains the LGBTQ community. So here we go. The Big Finish. Ryan Reynolds proves what we all knew: dating is hell. This is the new Match.com commercial, and Satan, which is Ryan Reynolds, is dating a girl named 2020. What do y'all think?
I mean, he does make Satan look pretty tempting.
I mean, my friends have always been telling me to sign up for Match.com, and I think this might be the time.
And you are the most eligible bachelor in Broward County, and then with an asterisk, Miami-Dade County
And
also.
now Palm Beach County.
And now, Palm Beach has been added.
This is going for the whole South Florida
Yeah,
area.
the South Florida. And so, in other words, you're so thirsty, you'll drive anywhere.
Anywhere.
Is that what I just heard?
Yes.
Okay, got it. You definitely are gay. All right, in the big finish, gay penguin power couple in Sydney, Australia, hatches another chick, and they may be grandparents soon. This video you are watching is two male penguins who have bonded with each other and are raising an egg and chick, and it was so successful, they're doing another one.
Hey, respectively, who says we can't raise kids? Who does?
I think this is an absolute adorable story.
And one of the things that I read in this story is that the gay power penguin couple keep their pen area cleaner than the male and female couple together.
See?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah.
The big finish. This is my favorite story of the day. Out Senator Kyrsten Sinema's look steals the limelight at Mark Kelly's swearing-in ceremony. Now, before we comment on this, look closely. Mark Kelly, the new senator from Arizona, first senator from Democratic senator from Arizona since 40 BC or something, is standing next to, she's holding the Bible, and out Senator Kyrsten Sinema is wearing a cheap purple Party City wig and a cheap tiger print jacket. But the important thing is, look at who is swearing him in.
Of course.
Anti-LGBTQ Vice President Mike Pence. And she's looking him straight in the eye.
Of course. It's called checkmate, bitch.
Checkmate.
It must have been amazing to make him feel awkward.
The funny thing in this picture, it brought me to a complete stop. Can you imagine even 10 years ago, this scene? Yeah. It's impossible for us to imagine when Obama was president of the United States that we would see something like this. Republican, Democrat.
I want to see what his face looks like.
It is 2020.
Yeah, 2020. All right.
And that is today's news for the LGBT community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Then help us by like and subscribing, ring the bell for updates, share the news. We're the only television live video news that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
And I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of anchors John Buckley and Cal Gajraj, and Cal, what's your mobile phone number again? Tell us that real quick.
Well, it's Cal Gajraj on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Oh, okay. All right. The most eligible bachelor in South Florida. Oh, wait, there's a breaking news. Georgia has been added now. All right.
I've won Georgia.
Yeah. You won Georgia?
Yes.
We need a recount.
Atlanta, here I come.
Oh, did you hear, John? We need a recount. Sorry. All right. Well, America, we will see you daily and every night at 7 p.m. Good night, America.